Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of the Sony Betacam teardown. In this video I'm going to have a look at all of the circuit boards that came out of the unit. There's quite a few of them, so I've done this as a separate video. In part 3 we're going to have a look at the main mechanics, the tape transport, tape drum, heads, all that sort of stuff. So that will be in part 3. So thankfully I do have the service and maintenance manual for the for this BVW-75, so I can tell you what all the boards do. So first board up is DT13, which is titled Dynamic Tracking. So yeah, it's through hole and some surface mount on this one. We've got a couple of we've got a Toshiba TMPZ84C011AF6, another Toshiba there, that's a TMPZ84C30AP6, custom Sony. We've got an EPROM there with the model number of the machine on it and version 105. Another Sony custom IC, a couple of bodge wires, and there is nothing on the reverse side. And the next board we have is DT14, which is titled DTV Generator and Auto Offset Hysteresis Cancel and Strain Gauge Buffer. Similar board to the last one, so there's components only on one side, mixture of through hole and surface mount. Quite a few trim pots on this one. You've got a little hybrid doohickey there. We've got this little bodge board on here which is titled DUS28, and that is the strain gauge buffer. That definitely looks bodged on to me, with these wires coming over and being soldered into some of the vias. It's actually been soldered onto one of the test points. So the next board is AFM1, which is audio frequency modulator and demodulator, and FL61, which is a low pass filter, which is this board just here. Those two ICs haven't been soldered in very well, have they? So yeah, we've got this little board here with two hybrid modules soldered onto it. I don't think that's bodge, because it actually solders into a proper space on the PCB, so that does look intentional. So yeah, not a huge amount on that one. We've got various signal wires which are patched in, so obviously they need to screen those and protect them from any other signals on the board. This one is double-sided. We've got capacitors, resistors and some small transistors on this side. And the next board is where's the marking? SV83, which is titled Real Servo. So this one is single-sided only. We've got a whole load of bodge wires on here. Interesting how they've turned they folded these little disc capacitors over to secure the wire down. Another one of these little hybrid packages. And the next board is TC40, which is titled Full Erase Oscillator, Channel 1, Channel 2, LTC Erase Driver. Now, full erase oscillator, that is probably the full erase head, which completely wipes the tape. And channel 1, channel 2 and LTC, they're all audio tracks, so these are erase drivers, so those will be the drivers which run the erase head for the audio tracks. It is also LTC record and playback amplifier and timing generator. So yeah, quite a bit of stuff on there. This one is double-sided again. Looks like we've got the same story, sort of small resistors and capacitors and some transistors on this side, and then all the larger stuff on this side. Fujitsu MB88525 IC there. Capacitor's been bodged onto the legs there. Haven't mounted those flush to the board, and they are actually called TH1 and TH2. So I wonder if they're some kind of temperature sensor. And the next board is AU-75, which is titled LNG Audio Record and Playback Amplifier. So this is doing the record and playback amplification for the LNG audio tracks. Yeah, similar story. We've got small surface mount resistors, capacitors and transistors on this side, and on this side we've got all the other stuff. Some hybrid modules here, a bit flappy around in the breeze, but that there was this wire which is soldered in which stops it flapping around too much. That's a custom Sony device again, BX1152. Looks like there's two of those. Small little Sony custom hybrid things made of adjustment pots. Bodge resistor just tagged in there. So yeah, not a huge amount to see. Oh, another bodge just there. And the next board is VO18. That is described as video output, and AGC for AFM and squelch buffer. Bodge wire and another one. Got a little bodge board just there. Another one of these little hybrid modules. Some RC filters there. Switches, adjustment pots. These are probably filters of some sort, I would imagine. They're made by Soshin. I think they, I'm sure I've recognised that name for doing filters and things like that. Okay, the next board is EN48. Now I can't actually seem to find an exact match for EN48 in the service guide. There's an ENC48. We'll just assume that's the same thing. So we've got C encoder, SC generator, and C black burst generator. Yep, similar story again. A couple of oscillators there. Some more of these filters, electrolytics, adjustment pots, lots of ICs. Oh, nice bodgy there. So we've got a resistor, a capacitor. Sorry, we've got two resistors, capacitor tagged onto this IC down in there. Right, next board is the DM46, which is titled a Y modulator. There should be a daughter board on this as well called DUS272, which is Y nonlinear pre-emphasis, and C modulator, and a daughter board DUS272C, which is C nonlinear pre-emphasis. So yeah, there's probably two sections on here. Yeah, looks like got two of those, two of those, two of those, two sets of adjustment pots. So it's probably laid out in like that. Yeah, double-sided again. Some bodge components on there. Resistor, capacitor there, another resistor. So these will be the little, yeah, that's the DUS272. So filter probably custom Sony. Little kind of a bodgy thing going on there. Not sure what that was, but they've obviously changed it and put a little circuit board in instead of it. Oh, we've got a special bodge. Yeah, we've got the resistor tagged onto a capacitor, tagged onto this IC, through a resistor, through another resistor there to a test point. Oh, yeah, similar story there as well. Custom Sony. Yeah, plenty of custom Sony stuff on there. Next one is SV84, which is titled Capstan Servo, Drum Servo and CTL Record Playback Amplifier. So a little bit more sparse on this one, only single-sided. Another one of these custom Sony hybrid things. Not a huge amount to see on there. Custom Sony, custom Sony. A few adjustment pots, this, that and the other. And the next one is TBC9, which is reference signal generator and TBC read timing generator. So TBC is the time-based corrector. So this obviously forms part of those circuits. A few custom Sony ICs on here again. Custom Sony. Another custom Sony one just there. Some oscillators. Not quite sure why they've blobbed a bit of goop on there. It's obviously come apart, but why just do those two when you got all these just doing the same thing, flapping around? Weird. Bodge wire up there. And it's double-sided again. Okay, the next board is DEC46. Now I can't find any reference to this board in the service guide, so I'm not really sure what that one is. Is there anything I can give a bit away? I've got YC cancel delay just there. DC level, edge N level, edge P level, YC cancel phase. So yeah, it's obviously something to do with the actual video signal, isn't it? Double-sided, little bodge component just there, little capacitor. Bodge wire. Again, it's just the random components seem to have goop on them. I'm not quite sure why put them on just those two components. I don't know. Don't get it. Little switch there. Custom Sony IC. Custom Sony. Interesting little prototype area just there on your board. I'm not quite sure why you'd do that, and just in case you had a sneaking suspicion that it wasn't going to work, and you thought, oh, I'll just put a proto area on my circuit board so I can bodge it easily. I don't know. There's another couple of components that have just been gooped up. They're not bodged in. How weird. Okay, next one is the AU76 board, which is LNG audio confi playback amplifier. Confi means confidence, which is the heads that allow you to play back immediately as you've recorded. So that's one of the audio playback amplifiers. LNG audio head amplifier and audio bias oscillator. So lots of recording head analog stuff. Little sort of semi-shielded areas. Small, these hybrid modules. Given we've seen a few of these, I'll just try to look it up in the service manual, and although it is listed, it's just listed as an IC, so there's no information on what it actually does. Double-sided, like many of the others. A couple of bodge wires. No, can't really see anything too interesting on there. And the next one we have is SV82, which is described as counter and microcomputer servo. Custom Sony IC. Some NEC devices. NEC, that's a D78310CW, custom Sony, another EPROM, some dip switches, bodged in resistor, jumper wires, and another one just in there. Oh, and some little diodes tagged in just there. Single-sided. Yeah, not a lot to see. Okay, this is one of the larger boards which came out of the top section. It's titled DM56, and that is described as Y demodulator and C demodulator. Yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff on here, blimey. So we've got a couple of big filters, 3 of those, and it's bodge-tastic. Yeah. A couple of electrolytics bodged in there. We've got bodge wire just there, another bodge wire, and another bodge wire. And oh, we've got a whole load of bodginess going on in there. Loads of a couple of capacitors and stuff being strapped to the top of an IC. There's tiny little boards which have been tagged in. Yeah, another little bodge board just there. Bodge wire just there. Was somebody having a bad day when they did this one? Interesting hybrid thing going on just here. Custom ICs from Sony just there. Another bodge board just there. Little wire leading out. Got this thing. Looks like it's been bodged in. I don't know. Another little bodge board kind of thing going on here. Another little board. That one looks intentional. In fact, that one looks intentional, but I think that might be a bit of an afterthought. Green resistor tagged on top of a little resistor underneath it. Little bodgy. And oh my god. Yeah, bodge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Any more? 18. Is that it? Yeah, it's a bit bodgy on this side. And the next one we have is DEC42, which is C decoder, RY and BY compressor, RY and BY clamp level adjustment, Y selector, reference sync adder, timing generator, and colour frame decoder, and colour frame detector. Yeah, they've crammed a bit on here, haven't they? Board here, looks like it unplugs. Yep. So CF36, so that's the colour frame detector. So that one is almost all surface mount. And we've got some more bodged wires going on here, tagged onto the edge connector there. Resistor tucked away in the goop. Oh, and little diode in there, and another one in there, tagged onto that IC. Yeah, this one's bodgy as well. That's got a capacitor there which is bent over at right angles because it's too big to fit in the footprint. Bodge resistor just there onto this custom Sony IC. And filter. Custom Sony, custom Sony, custom Sony. Another little bodge board just there, which is tagged tagged down onto this hybrid device, custom Sony, of these TH1 and TH2. So where they're little thermistors, just monitoring temperature or something, or compensating for temperature, possibly. There's another bits of random goop. That one's got goop on it, but nothing else does. Why is that one special? And on the back, oh yeah, bodge resistor, bodge resistor, bodge resistor, bodge resistor, jumper, capacitor and a resistor and a jumper wire bodged in there. But yeah, little diode just there, tagged on. And the next board is TBC7, which is AD converter, Y right clock generator, and C right clock generator. Yeah, so more and more custom Sony ICs. There. Hybrid modules. Some of these filters. Can't see any bodge wires yet. Little adjustment, lots of adjustment pots on this one, I've noticed. And yeah, just rammed full of custom Sony ICs. A few little switches up there. And on the other side, it's a similar story to the other ones, but no bodge wires. Is it a board with no bodge wires? Got another one of these TH components, possibly a thermistor. Okay, so this board is TBC12, and this is another one that I can't find in the service manual, but I've managed to find an well, you can see here it's got this board on the centre of it, and that has a designation of NR32. I've managed to find an NR25, which is a noise reduction board, but both the NR32 and the TBC12 I can't find in this service manual. So the NR25 was described as noise reduction, so I'm going to hazard a guess that this is probably similar. Maybe it's slightly more up to date or something, it's been swapped, don't know. So we've got this board just tagged in here on a little ribbon cable. Yeah, custom Sony, and a couple of oscillators. Custom Sony, Sony. Yes, lots of Sony custom stuff. Quite cool looking hybrid things. Nice Sony branded pin grid array IC there. Adjustment pots, dip switches. I've got some couple more ICs just there, and the same again on the other side underneath these hybrid things. So this is the one that has these settings and stuff on. It's the board is SY61, which is described as system control and CPU 1, system control CPU 2, serial interface, fan motor error detector. So yeah, this one looks pretty much all digital. Toshiba part there, TMPZ84C011AF. It's probably a microcontroller or microcomputer or something. Custom Sony, Sharp IC there, Sharp. Oh, it mentioned serial interface, so there might be like a UART or something on one of these. Custom Sony, a couple of EPROMs, BVW-75, SYS2 and SYS1 version 2. Another one of those microcontrollers just there. And it's only single-sided. And the second of those two large boards, this one is titled SY64, That is I/O expander, LTC VTIC generator. That's to do with the time code. There's a couple of different types of time code that you can actually use. We've got LTC reader, VTIC reader, time base impact error corrector, and sensor amplifier. So looks a lot better laid out board than some of the other ones. Single-sided. We've got 3 of these ICs here, Sony branded, PGA, which have been soldered onto the board. We've got one little jumper wire there. Oh, and another little bodge. Right, this is CP11. This is the board which was attached to the rear panel and all the output connectors. CP111 is an audio output amplifier driver, and then CP113, which are these small little boards here, they are titled audio balanced amplifier. So these are all just audio amplification. So they do all appear to be pretty much the same. These are all CP113. This is the one where we had some of the caps had blown out. Interesting that I noticed afterwards. Oh, well, whoever soldered that one very, very nearly took the trace with it. It's actually coming off the circuit board there. Yeah, these ones have definitely been changed in the past because all the caps on these boards have been Nichicon and these are Rubicon. So although they're a decent Japanese cap, they have been swapped in the past, and it looks like they needed changing again. Interestingly, it looks like it's all the same capacitors which are failing. So that one there, that one looks alright. So obviously these are under a fair bit of stress, a bit more than these other ones. And on the flip side, there's no components, it's just single-sided. Right, next 2 boards, I'm doing these together because they are almost identical. These are RP29 and RP29A, and they are described as C record and playback amplifiers, Y record and playback amplifiers. So these were located in the shielded metal cans which came directly off the preamplifiers on the video drum. So these are the main video amplifiers. So these, as I said, these were all shielded. Got a couple of little bodge capacitors on there, but a couple of little ceramic hybrid modules just there. Some surface mount components on. Lots of little trim pots. Jumper just there. I wonder whether that is to enable you to test something. Yeah, there's 2 test points either side of the jumper, so that's probably allow you to measure current. So you can take the jumper off and then connect a meter across the test points and measure the actual current across there, and then when you're done you put the jumper back. And the next one is in this shielded can. So this one is RE34, which is called rotary erase. So it's obviously the driver for the rotary erase heads. Transformers in there, custom Sony branded. Right, now the last thing to look at is the VU meters. So this is on this little module. This was actually inside a small metal shielding can. So we've got a vacuum fluorescent display. So this appears to be a completely self-contained unit. There's a couple of switches on the top here. We've got test on and off. The test, it just lights up everything, and we've got a dB scale and VU scale. Oh, so I've just got the VU meter connected up to my 2 power supplies. It needs 5 volts and 12. And I've got it connected to my signal generator as well. So if I turn on the display, Oh, it's a bit hard to see. I'll turn the light out. So we've got the 4 channels. That's in dB mode, so if I flick the switch, that should pop it into VU mode. So that's in VU, so you can just switch it between dB and VU. Interestingly, the dB range actually has a peak level bar on it as well on each of the 4 displays. 2.5 volt sine wave going into there. So if I just increase that in frequency, so what's that? That's 20 hertz sine wave. Back down to 1 square wave. Yeah, it's a very, very fast response on the display. That 12 hertz, 20. Right, that's all the PCBs looked at. That was quite interesting. Big difference in all the different styles of the circuit board. Some were mostly surface mount, some were all through hole, mixture of 2. Some seem to be earlier designs than others. And of course there was quite a lot of bodge wires and that kind of thing on them, so that was interesting. In part 3 we're going to, as I said before, we're going to have a look at the tape transport, so that's just coming right up. Thanks for watching everybody, I'll see you in part 3.